Thanks, Robin. I just have to remember to go to this board to... You're going to do it? Okay. Thanks. So good morning, everyone. I am delighted to be with you this morning to offer some initial thoughts on the topic of low carbon building skills. As Robin mentioned, this event has come about because the province of Ontario, specifically the Ministry of Advanced Education and Skills Development, which was the former MTCU for people that might not have jumped to the new acronyms, established a $24 million funding program to support colleges and universities, unions, employers, and other industry partners to acquire new equipment and increase their capacity to train current and future workers in low carbon building skills in the following ways. So, next one, that one, yep. So St. Lawrence College was successful, as Robin mentioned, in their bids for the first three noted bullet points. The first is a partnership to highlight our success with our programming and research with our industry partners. The second is to develop a new and improved Energy House 2.0, we're calling it, which will actually incorporate a lot of LEED and passive house design in parts of it. We're not going for accreditation in either one, but we're just going to incorporate as much as we can. And then the third is in partnership with Algonquin College, Fleming College, Queen's University, the City of Kingston, and Utilities Kingston, we were successful in obtaining the funding for an initiative in this third category, the green curriculum, which is what today is all about. To be successful, our post-industry institutions need to address all of these initiatives. That's because we can only expect to see real change if we get workable, goal-focused ideas into our training for both the current and future generations of our construction industry personnel. And that training gets implemented every day on the ground from the design offices and materials and procurement officers to the construction trades and municipal authorities and everything in between. And we all know that for any job, that everything in between is a lot. Today is our first step on that journey on the low carbon building skills curriculum, and we're delighted to have all of you with us. We need your early input. We want to learn from your experience and insight. We want to understand where you'd like to take low carbon building skills in whatever part of the construction section you may be engaged in. And we want you to consider yourself to be invited to stay on this journey with us over the next few months and beyond, keeping us on the right path, telling us where we need to speed up or slow down, pointing out the barriers along the way and signaling when it's time to let others lead or charge full steam ahead ourselves. And above all, join us in celebrating our wins, whether it's just getting something done well and out the door or seeing the real on-the-ground change around us as low-carbon building skills take hold. I know that Warren will kick off this afternoon's discussions with some specific places to look as we begin the process of curriculum development that will culminate in that release, late this fall, we hope, of low-carbon building skills curriculum modules. These new modules will help us all incorporate more low-carbon thinking into our building sector-focused training programs, as well as ultimately into the workplaces and job sites that ultimately determine how well we are doing our jobs. To begin that process, I invite you to join me in considering 3 questions that are key to success in building and implementing low-carbon building skills. So what is the ultimate objective of a focus on low-carbon building skills? What is the context within which low-carbon building skills operate today? And where could low-carbon building skills take us? So in the next few minutes, I propose to deal with each question in turn and then issue a challenge to each of you to convene in smaller groups to talk through the opportunities, the issues, and the challenges associated with low-carbon building skills. So what is the ultimate objective of a focus on low-carbon building skills? In Ontario and in most jurisdictions, what the ministry is defining as low-carbon building skills are seen as a way to reduce our carbon footprint, and particularly the greenhouse gas emissions associated with building and operating any kind of building, whether it's residential, commercial, institutional, or industrial. The link to climate change and greenhouse gas reductions was explicit in the provincial call for proposals. Greenhouse gases are a significant component of Ontario's emissions profile, accounting for a good 20% of total emissions. If we were able to attribute construction industry-related emissions from the transportation and industrial sectors, obviously this proportion would be a lot higher. So if Ontario is to meet its greenhouse gas emission reduction target, we in the construction industry and building operation fields have a lot of work to do. You should know we met our target in 2014, largely because we closed our coal-fired electricity generating station. But the targets for the coming years are more challenging. Ontario targets are 15% below 1990 levels by 2020, so that's a 27 megaton reduction. 37% below 1990 levels by 2030, so that's 67 megaton reduction to approximately 115 megatons, and 80% below 1990 levels by 2050. That's 146 megaton reduction to approximately 36 megatons. We cannot hope to achieve these targets without action in the building sector. Those actions will almost certainly involve changes in the way we design, build, maintain, and operate buildings. And a significant share of those changes will be made through low carbon building skills. In a nutshell, addressing the building sector portion of our action to address climate change requires attention to low carbon building skills. But there are reasons beyond greenhouse gas emissions that require us to pay attention to this. Improving the lives of our fellow citizens, building resilience and sustainability into our communities and society as a whole, and nurturing local and national economies. This leads to my next question. What is the context within which low carbon building skills operate today? Our shared efforts to introduce low carbon building skills do not take place in a vacuum. We live in a highly dynamic world. Buildings are part of almost all of them. We hear about extreme weather events and power outages that often leave thousands vulnerable or even in grave danger. How could low carbon building skills contribute in the short term and ultimately the long term to building resilience, literally, into our communities and keep our businesses, institutions, and other organizations operating in the stressful times in which those services are most needed? Concerns about affordable housing. For low-income populations, younger people just getting a start in life, seniors wanting to downsize, families who need to upsize, businesses, institutions, government, and other building owners or tenants are also paying more attention to affordability. These kinds of considerations prompt demand for new kinds of buildings, shift the balance between new build and renovations, and call greater simultaneous attention to keeping both maintenance and operating costs down. How can low-carbon building skills address these issues? Concerns about the safety of those who live and work in buildings. This is an ongoing issue that we must keep sight of as we strive to reduce the carbon footprint of our facilities. We are all aware of the importance of good structural work, good electrical work, good plumbing, good HVAC systems, and good building security, from indoor air quality and the benefits of daylighting to potable water and proper ventilation. Buildings are complex structures. How do we ensure that these considerations are taken into account as we make more extensive use of low-carbon building skills? Concerns about lack of any housing at all. This may be the case in high-growth communities, remote areas without access to the kinds of structures and services that you and I may take for granted. Areas that have been devastated by natural or other disasters, with citizens literally without a roof over their heads. Or regions that are likely to see significant economic activity in the coming decades, but have nowhere to house incoming workers or their families. How do these considerations to build faster and stronger and often on challenging sites in highly variable climates get incorporated into low-carbon building skills? Concerns about economic disruption. Although our economy and low-carbon building skills may not seem to be especially tightly coupled, there are direct implications of economic downturns or rapid changes in markets. What happens to demands for our services, overall and within specific market segments in a sluggish economy? Can we get the raw materials and components we need to build green at a competitive price? What is the price of being sustainable? You will likely have additional considerations in mind as you think of the context for today's construction industry, the building trades, and other professionals that do the work, and the suppliers, financiers, regulators, and others who will determine our collective success in the years to come. We've got a good cross-section of stakeholders here today, so there's lots of experience on which to draw from, which leads to my third question. Where could low-carbon building skills take us? By that I mean, what could the future hold for building trades and professions? How and where will we be expected to bring our expertise into the construction marketplace? At what stages in the construction process will we be expected to participate and bring our best? How will we relate to and work with fellow tradespeople, engineers, architects, designers, suppliers, job site neighbors, as well as other personnel whose collaboration we need to get the job done? What are the opportunities for even better building performance if we work together differently? And what can go awry if we don't? What happens to the way we train and the way we work as the construction sector embraces new materials, new assembly methods, and new technologies of all kinds? We've already seen significant change, much of it stimulated by the green building movement, from fiber-reinforced concrete, insulated concrete forms, triple-pane windows, to building integrated photovoltaics, heat recovery systems, and PLCs. I'm sure we all have a programmable thermostat in our homes, and some of us are probably even working it today with our smartphones. And there are many more examples you can tell me about, and virtually all of them need to be reflected, at least to some degree, in our skilled trades training programs, our engineering technology programs, and our engineering and architecture programs, as well as on the job site. These changes are starting to take place. It's very common now to hear people in the construction sector talk about LEED certified buildings. An initiative of the Canadian Green Building Council, our own new build outside, if you look out the window in that direction, is aiming for LEED Gold certification, and the renovation of our historic new courthouse is also aiming to be LEED certified. We all understand the importance of sustainability in buildings, or perhaps Net Zero Homes, which is an initiative of the Canadian Home Builders Association, or Passive House Canada, which is a national nonprofit professional association founded in 2013. What these initiatives share is a desire to find better ways to design, build, and use buildings. And those better ways are what our skilled trades and building professionals need to know about. The Low Carbon Building Skills Initiative will need to take these changing performance standards into account. We have a video that comes up next, and it's something quite a bit different, but it's showing a dramatic change that's taking place in the construction sector. So as you watch this short video, I invite you to consider the impact that this technology, maybe not this one in particular, but this and many other new initiatives that are making their way into our skilled trades, particularly in the years ahead, and what this may imply for low carbon building skills. So that's just the kind of ideas that are coming out. So we're moving in a completely different direction. We need to take some of the construction sector is in transition, and we're all working hard to keep pace with the changes that are taking place around us. That's what the Low Carbon Building Skills Initiative is all about. It's working with stakeholders from across the building sector to make sure our skilled trades and other professionals are up to speed on creating, renovating, and operating in greener, more sustainable buildings. And now it's your turn to help us do that.